Welcome to the Project Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Gorey, mom of a sweet baby girl and an ever-evolving entrepreneur. On this show, we will explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. We will share stories of moms just like you and me with the goal of fostering community and comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our experiences. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to ensure you get all the updated episodes and releases. Welcome to today's episode of the Project Mom Podcast. I'm doing one of, I hope, many solo episodes today on my own personal musings and curiosities around motherhood. And this episode was inspired by a conversation that I had had with a friend of mine a handful of weeks ago. And this nagging thought just kept creeping up, right? This need to produce something that could be externally measured. So with that, let's just get into it. This friend of mine, her daughter is close in age to my daughter, and we're at the point where we're considering daycare part-time, a few days a week. Not quite preschool, but some extra hands and socialization for a few hours a day, a few days a week. And you know how this came up? It came from our mutual need to do more. Now, while being a mom is one of the most challenging things I've had to do, and perhaps one of the most miraculous, don't get me wrong, it really doesn't satisfy all parts of me. And I'm deeply proud of myself, but it's just not quite enough. And I, like my friend, I assume, am not quite satisfied within the confines of this role and this role alone. And there's this inner calling, a drive, a desire, a voice, whatever you feel it's defined as, that's present. And I can't quite put my finger on it, on the thing that I want to do, but I do know deep down that I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to expand. And I believe that everyone has their own unique path in this life that's perfect to them. The path you choose to walk is full of opportunities for growth and expansion through these choices. And a part of that choice is being open to the uncomfortable. My friend had said to me something along these lines, that she's ready to ask for help, to welcome more hands into the community that gets to love her child and support her child's development. But what would she do at that time if she had it? Now, don't get me wrong. Our husbands and partners are supportive. They're aligned with this next step. But we pause to think, where is this guilt coming from? Right? There is this narrative that our worth is equal to our productivity, that we must do something with this time for us to be worthy of having it. That for us to be worthy of removing some of the pressure of childcare, caregiving, then we must replace it with something else deemed worthy by society. I recognize, right, that those tasks can take on a variety of forms. Errands to take care of those around us, exercise to work on the bodies that house us in order to look a certain way. Perhaps we want to look like we did before the baby came. We could get a job, start a business in order to contribute to the household finances. I can already feel the pressure to perform with this podcast, and this space is constantly growing and evolving. And there's this need to justify the ask for help, to justify for space with what I want to fill. And it feels really heavy. For a long time, the first few months of this podcast, even, I worked on it in the evenings, early mornings, on Fridays, which is the only day I have childcare, or did at the time. I'm not making any money off of it, off of this hobby. So how could I justify the spend for a nanny or for daycare? We're very much a society of doers. And for us moms who already do beyond the comprehension of many, into the wee hours beyond just the typical job, at what point can we just be? I don't have the answer, but I keep getting this mental question. Why not now? Why can't we ask for help now so we can recharge, to take a nap, to walk outside, meet a friend for coffee, watch a movie, sit with ourselves and our thoughts? The thoughts of a woman are actually quite powerful. And I don't mean that in a way that holds any malintent or malicious expectation. But it is quite remarkable to observe, to take a step back and admire the way in which our half of the species exists, the way our brains work. We are able to have 1,000,001 tabs open. We consider the needs, wants, demands of multiple people in as many moments as possible. We consider the consequences 5 steps ahead of a decision or action that we make now, especially when it comes to our children, right? If I let my daughter sleep an extra 15 minutes now, it causes a shift in the day, which then affects the errands I need to run, which pushes back dinner, which will need to happen when my husband gets home from work, who can then give my daughter a bath before her bedtime. Or can I put in this grocery order now and pick it up during this time slot? Yes, but only if she wakes up on time and doesn't fight me for the 30 minutes it typically takes to get in the car. Oh, wait, she will actually get in the car seat if we have cheese sticks. But wait, we're out of cheese sticks, hence the grocery order. Okay, what next? Right? If we are only able to create space for our brains to rest, to relax, to recharge, I can only imagine the solutions that will come. And not only solutions for a more streamlined day-to-day, but an ability for our minds to signal to us our inner passions, our inner desires. It gives us time when we least expect it to identify where our paths will lead us next. What is our impact supposed to look like on this world? And it may be that our calling is to be a stay-at-home mom, but I would make the assumption that for most of us, it's not. We just can't hear our inner voice because the chaos of our days are so loud. You know, there's something from my episode with Alice and Ryan, which was released on July 4th. And if you haven't listened to it yet, I really recommend it. But there's one thing that's still sitting with me from her episode. She was talking about this pressure, this narrative that by giving in to medication, or if she needed medication to help regulate her postpartum depression, then something must be wrong with her, right? To admit that would be devastating. But then she had gotten to this point where it just felt as though it couldn't get any worse. So why not, right? If it didn't work, she couldn't feel any worse than she already did, so she had nothing to lose. This anecdote is so impactful and just really resonates so close to home for me in the sense that I was already not happy, right? The choices that I was making to sacrifice myself in order to meet an expectation of me that was created by a society that only values me in relation to how I serve in this female role. I found that action, any action, at least any action, helped me get more clarity on what it is I wanted and didn't want, right? Without action, and for me, that action was making the choice to create space in order to receive guidance. That without action, we are just idling and wallowing and wondering and daydreaming. But what if we actually took one small step towards getting clarity? If we allow for the space to take action, to sit still, to listen to what our bodies are telling us in those moments, we may actually just find out that we're on the right path to what we truly desire. So with that, I'm just going to leave this here. It is okay to take up space for yourself, to ask for help, to ask for a moment of calm. It is safe to be quiet for time that does not need to be filled. It is safe for you to do what you feel inspired to that day or that hour or in just these few minutes. And perhaps it just starts with an hour and you sit and you speak or you write with your inner self. Give yourself a bit of compassion, take the pressure off to perform, to produce, and just allow yourself to be. I think you'd be surprised at just what you hear. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please help us out and leave a review wherever you listen, and consider sharing with your friends. If you're interested in learning a bit more about the project or want to share your story, please visit our website linked in our show notes below.